Hi everyone, today I am going to be trying out these pencils. Now a company got in touch with me called Grabie, based in America, and they ship out actually to America and the UK, and they asked me to pick something from their website to do a review of, and they would send it to me for free. So I've received these. I chose these pencils. These were actually the only coloured pencils they had which weren't watercolour pencils. Now, having not being an expert in watercolour, I thought it would be better to just do, not that I'm an expert in anything, but I thought it might be better to do these pencils. So it came wrapped in a huge amount of bubble wrap in a box, and then we have this one. Now they're called Giorgione Classic Colour pencils. Are 72, and they say Eco Pencil here, and it says includes classic gold. I'm going to turn them over because I haven't unwrapped the box, so we can leave the back without disturbing them. I shall zoom in a little bit so you can have a look. I don't know how well. Sorry about my light shining off the tin. So it says classic colour pencils are manufactured using only high quality pigments for rich lay down colour. Smooth rich colours blend quickly and easily without outstanding results, and thick 3.3mm leads, especially SV bonded, to help prevent breakage. Clean and easy sharpening is guaranteed when you choose Faber-Castell sharpeners. I don't have one of those, but hey ho, that's okay. And then we have a few other languages. Now this is actually wrapped up, so I'm just going to take off the plastic. I'm just going to give it a little snip on the corner. Oh no, it's not, it's broken here on this corner, look. Here, look. So I can rip it off. So I will just remove this, and then we can look. Let me zoom back out. Oh, actually, so you can get a lovely view of my desk. So we'll take off this plastic and we'll have a look inside. I am going to try them out on a picture in a minute. I'm not just going to swatch them. I like to try things out on actual pictures because I think it's more relatable, really. Ooh, sorry about the noise. So these are triangular, it says here. That's interesting. So we'll open up the tin. Now, as I say, they have come from America, so we hope that they... Now the lid is shading the light somewhat. Hang on. You pull the light forward and you can see them. So I'll pull one out. Let's just pull out a random one. So this is a green one, obviously. It just says the brand name on the pencil. I can't get in too close because it will be blurred. It's got a space to write your name, but that's teeny tiny. And there is no, there is a number here, and I assume that's different. Oh no, that's the same on, no, it's different on some pencils than others, I think. No, it's the same on every pencil. So there isn't a way of identifying the different colours. I don't mind that, but obviously when I'm doing a video, it's sometimes handy for people to see. I'm just going to show you that there's two layers. There's a layer under here as well. So obviously this layer, we've got our yellows. There's some nice pale yellows and orangey yellows and greens, and moving on to our purples and blues. It's a strange order to go green then purple and blue. Anyway, matter. And here we have some pinks, obviously a few reds, and look at that neon. Wow. And other colour pinks, sort of peachy colours. And then we go on to our greys and our browns, and we've got our gold. So there's only one gold. It's not gold and silver or bronze or anything that we might be used to with other browns, but as there's only 72, we can't have it always. So I'm just going to move these aside and show you what I'm going to colour. I picked this picture from the Johanna Basford Worlds of Wonder postcard book. I thought it was quite a good picture to do. I will zoom in, don't worry. Because it's got lots of scope for different colours and for blending. So we've got our camel. I do need to lean on something. I'm going to pop it on top of the book, or so I can't just lean on my desk. So we've got the camel we can try out the browns, and then we've got the tent and the different bits and bobs. So I will try every colour. But it might be tricky, but we'll see. So obviously this is card, it's not the paper that from the books, but I don't find it any different normally to colour than any other paper. So we'll go for it and see what happens. So I'm going to work my way through the box. I think that's the best way, or else I might forget and leave some out. So I've got to start with this gold. This is the one that's at the end of the row that I've picked. Now you can see the ends are quite flat, which often pencils are when we first get them. So I'm going to give this a sharpen and just bring it to a slight point like that. They never come to a really nice point when you first sharpen them. You know, it looks a bit odd, but that's what I would expect with any pencil. And I've got to decide what I'm going to colour gold on this, because nothing else. Maybe we'll do this piece here in gold. I am going to try and zoom right in for you, and I'll have to hope that I remember to move around a bit so you can see. So let's make a start. So my end has snapped a little bit, but that happens to me with all pencils, so I'm just heavy-handed, and you know, it happens to me with polychromos, it happens to me with others, so that's fine. It's because I've just sharpened it. But since once it snaps a tiny bit, I don't usually find any more breakage. So there we are. Now I'm going to tip that towards the light so we can see if it's gold. Oh yeah, look, we get some shine. Oh, sorry, we get some blurry shine. Yeah, we get some shine, so that's quite interesting. We may find the other shine as well, because sometimes there are the pencils are sort of shiny in the light anyway. Now I'm going to move on to this one. This is the black. Not sure where I'm going to do black. What I might do actually, I'll do some black inside the tent, because it's dark in there, I'm thinking. Now you may recognise this picture from Worlds of Wonder. I haven't done a tutorial on this picture. I did quite a few from Worlds of Wonder, but this is a lot smaller than the original picture. Obviously it's a little postcard, so it's quite interesting to see how well these pencils will cope with little detail, and they seem good. They come nice and sharp, they don't seem to wear down too quickly. Obviously I lost my point on the last one, but it hasn't happened with this one. I think it was probably just me. I'm going to put a few layers on here to make it look really black, and that's a nice depth of colour I think for the black. Yeah, it's taken me 3 layers and now I'm happy with that. Okay, now we have a dark brown we are moving into. This is our darkest brown colour. I'll just show you that. And I am thinking we need to go camel. Now I don't think I will colour the whole camel in because there's a lot to do, so I think we'll just make a little start in certain areas. So I'm going to do a little bit here under the chin where I think it might be, there might be a shadow, so it might be darker than the rest of the camel, and actually all the way along the edge of the neck. And because I'm going to build up the different brown colours, and you'll be able to see how well they blend together, which I think is always a good test, because although some people do just like to use their pencils to block in colour, I think most of us who use pencils are trying to blend them a little bit, because otherwise we would just use a pen probably. It's actually a little bit easier I think to get an even block of colour. Sometimes with some pens I struggle a bit with all pens, but hey, it's just me. So there's our initial bit of brown on our camel, and now I'm going to grab the next brown, and this one is slightly lighter. So you can see, to me it looks slightly reddy in colour, not completely. They seem to get redder or orange, more orange as we go along, which is fine. I don't necessarily think a camel would be this dark, but you know, that's okay. Oh gosh, that is quite red. Look at that. That looks red to me, not brown. I've got to carry on now because I've started, but I'm not sure that that is quite really a brown. But that's my fault because I didn't swatch it on any paper first. So that looks quite red. It looks a bit less red in the camera because the light is bleaching it out a bit. But the next brown I think is rather less reddy. Have a look. That to me looks a bit darker and a bit more black based. So we'll try it out and see. I'm going to go right over the top of what we've done already and take that colour up. We've got a little bit of colour pencil coming off, which is okay. okay. I think they're blending together nicely. Well, they seem to be layering on top of each other rather than smushing together, but I like that personally. So we're going up. So obviously I haven't finished him. You know, he's only going to have to be partly coloured. Now our next one, to me, looks like it might be a bit red again. I'm just going to scribble it this time. Yeah, that's quite red. So I'm not going to do it on the camel. I'm going to find a different place to put it. Let's move back to our 10. I'm going to do the flags with it. I'm not going to do any shading with this one. I'm just going to colour in the flags. You can see how it's quite red. This is a browny red, but it isn't the colour that I want for the camel. So that's why we're doing it up here. Just going to do all the flags. See, I want them all the same colour. I won't remember which ones I've used unless I do it now. Of course I could rewatch my video, but I don't tend to do that. But that's quite a nice colour. It lays down quite well with only one layer. We've got quite a vibrant colour. Now, next brown is this one. Now to me that looks slightly more orangey and a bit more what I want for my camel. So I'm going to go back to the camel now with this one. Actually, just yeah, it's still quite red. I've just scribbled it, so I'm actually going to use it. Should we use it? Oh, I know. We use it here on the bottom of the blanket. Here, look. So you can see it's quite reddish still. It is a bit more brown than the flags. Still a little bit too intense and orangey for what I'm looking for on my camel, but it sits quite nicely there because it's quite an intense colour. That's quite nice. And then we move on to our next one. To me this looks quite similar. I'm just going to have a scribble. Yeah, it's very similar actually. So I think I might go over here on some of these triangles. And so you can see it's actually really quite close to that one. It is a different colour. I'm not saying it's identical. It's a bit too similar. Again, not close enough to what I want for my camel. But that's okay. It's quite orangey, which is nice. And I'm going to go for this next one. This next brown to me looks a bit more like what I want for here. So I'm going to use it on there. So I'm going to go up here. Oh, I snapped it again. I think, as I say, I think that's just me being a bit heavy-handed. And it's only a tiny bit. It's not like the whole lead breaks. Just a little tiny bit. I like this colour. This is more like what I'm looking for my camel. I'm pressing fairly hard because I can, because this is a postcard. I think it's mixing up nicely. So just moving up the camel, because I think he'll be darker at the bottom of his neck because of the light would be coming down from the sky. There we go. Let's blend it into that. I think that's done a fairly good job if you consider how it's quite a big jump between those two colours. We put that red in, which probably shouldn't have done, so I think that's done fairly well. Now we've got quite a pale brown, which I'm going to use for the last bit. I might use actually the next colour. So I'm going to go upwards here, this one, and then up here. I'm just leaving a little gap because I have got a sort of what I would call like a Naples yellow, which I like to do on the top of his head. But this blends quite nicely into the previous colour, which I like. Now as I'm colouring, I'll explain that I have got a discount code that's been sent to me with these. So if you decide that you'd like to go and have a look and buy them, do bear in mind that, that you can get some money off. I've put it down into the description. I can't remember what it is off the top of my head at the moment. So this is the last sort of in the brown. So this is a, as I say, it's like an ochre or a Naples yellow, that sort of colour. I'm going to use this for the top of his head. And I'm actually going to put it all over just to warm it all up. I do like using a yellow on top of things to warm, and this is a lovely warm tone, isn't it? So you can start to judge for yourself what you think about the blending. As I say, here we've got a big transition between two colours, so I mustn't be too judgmental of my poor blending skills, but I think they're doing quite a good job. I don't even know how much these cost, I can't remember, but as I say, there's a discount code which could be helpful. So there we go. What I'm going to do is, because I started off with that really dark brown and it hasn't blended in perfectly, I'm going to go back to it and just have a fiddle. Oh, in camera, no, sorry. Thought it was on my own then, and just gently try and blend it better into these next colours, just by adding a layer on top. And I think we'll find that we can get rid of that blend line, make it look better. Can you see it's improving it? I think it is anyway. So I'm just putting a light layer on top, trying to eliminate that really obvious blending line. Here it's sort of by the mouth. I think that's much improved, I have to say. You know, you might want to add lots of layers. You can actually see quite a lined effect, and I don't mind. He's got fur, so I think that works well. Okay, our next pencil is this one. Now I think this is a browny grey, like a sepia, well, like the Polychrome is dark sepia, not entirely sure. And I'm going to use it for this bit here, I think, and we'll just see how it comes out. We're going to end up with quite a rainbow picture because we've got 72 different colours to try. Well, the one is white. I won't, obviously the white isn't going to show up on my card, but we might try it on top of something else and see if it blends or not. There we go. There's his, oh, should put his face in there. There you go. It's quite a dark brown colour, I think. That isn't that grey, so I rather like that. Okay, and now we've got what I think is quite a dark grey, and I'm not sure where we're going. Oh, I know what we can do. We can do these across pieces on the tent, make them look a little bit metallic. So what I will do is start at this end with a harder application, fade it a little bit towards the middle and back again. And it's quite nice. I don't have to press that hard to get quite a nice deep dark colour, which I like. I find some cheaper brands of pencils, you can't get much pigment out of them, and that certainly isn't the case with these. Now I'm sure a lot of people will want me to sort of compare them, are they like this, are they like that. I find that really difficult. I'm not sure what I would say they were like. So anyway, that's that. I'm quite pleased with that. I like that one. Now this one looks to me a bit more like a Payne's grey. It's a sort of purpley, bluey grey colour. We will do this one down here. What was I thinking? Yeah, on the tops of those, as if there's a little metal ring on the top of there. You can see that's a darker colour. Got quite a small space to try to fit it in. There we go. Okay, and next we have quite a light looking grey. Although the packaging isn't that, look at the end, very light. So it's like some brands you often have to be a little bit careful about relying on the colour of the paint. Look at the tip, that's quite different. That's fine, as long as you're aware. Now what are we going to do with this pale grey? Maybe, yeah, maybe these little circles here are quite small. I'm not sure if it's going to show up very much. I can definitely see there's some grey there, but it is pale. But hopefully that's enough for you to see. And our next one, that was a sort of, is a slightly, going back to a slightly darker grey again. I know. See above the tent we have this piece here. We'll do this in the silver. So we'll try and do a darker, more layers here, and then reduce the layers towards the middle to give it a shine. I think this colour will work well for that. Now if you find you're not getting enough on the edges, dark enough to make it look shiny, then you can always use one of the darker greys, but I'm just going to leave it there. Now we're moving into purple. This is our palest colour. It's rather pretty, isn't it? But again, I'm not sure if the barrel is that close to the colour. But anyway, it doesn't matter. Right, where should we go? We will go on to these big diamond shapes. So, this is a nice colour. What we will do is we'll combine two colours on one of them so we can really look at the blending ability. So I think that's something that everyone likes to see. We can see they're vibrant, they lay down nicely, they're it's quite good pigment, etc. But blending them is key. Now I am pressing fairly hard, I have to say. I would say a medium pressure, certainly not a light layer, but that's just helps me to have a good look at the colours really. So what I'm going to do is pick two colours which aren't that similar. So I'm going to go for the next purple, which is that one, and I'm going to pick, yes, this colour. It's far down the tin, so we're going to see if we can get these two to blend together. I think it'll be an interesting test, so let's just give that a little sharpen. Now, it's always advised that you sharpen pencils before you use them, because sometimes they have a little layer of something on them which isn't very good when you use them. For me, I just find it it brings it to a point, which is what I'm looking for. So I'm going to go in with a dark layer of purple and reduce it towards the top on each of these. And then we'll do the other colour, which is a sort of deep pink colour, and start at the top, work our way down. See how well they mix together. Now this is only the first layer. I wouldn't ever expect a sort of perfect blend on one layer. So we will go in again with more purple, more pink, but I'm just moving across them all, doing them all. So there's our first layer. Now I will do a second layer of the purple. This time I'm paying quite a lot of attention to getting quite a deep layer at the bottom and then reducing it as we go up. It's quite a small space, it's a little bit tricky to do, but I'll do my best. And then you'll be able to see. back to the pink. This might be the last layer. I mean, they don't smush around like a Prisma does. You know, you can't actually move the pigment, but I personally am not keen on that. I like them to layer on top of each other, which is what I think they are doing. There, I think that's worked really well. So I hope you agree. I'm just going to push my lamp back a bit and you can see the colour slightly less bleached out because the light has taken from the colour. You can see there, that's a much truer representation of the colour. Okay, moving on, we've got a slightly different purpley tone. It looks quite blue to me. Okay, so we're going to pick something to go with this colour, and I think, having a good look at the blanket, I think I'm going to do this line here. They're going to be quite multicoloured. I sharpened that one really weirdly. It's my fault. Oh, I like that colour. It looks like it can't make up its mind if it wants to be purple or blue, so it's just somewhere in the middle. What do you think? Do you like it? Right. The next one is lighter. Again, I think it's slightly purpley. I'm not going to sharpen this one this time. I'm going to try it without. I'm going to go up here, just checking you're still in shot, and pop it in there. Yeah, it does work without sharpening, look. You don't have to. There we go. It's a bit hard to stain the lines, that's all. And some of these colours coming up are a little pale. I'm not sure how well they'll show up, but we'll see. This looks to me like a pale blue, but we have blues later, so I'm not really sure whether this is going to be purpley. I think I might do these here. Oh, it is. There definitely looks to be a tinge of purple in there to me, to my eye. Obviously, all different in how we see things. It doesn't really matter. It's just about thinking about whether you like it or not. I do. Now we oddly, this is a weird order. We move on to that. We go from that blue to this. Very odd. But anyway, it doesn't matter. So we've got quite a light colour. Now I was going to do this with it, but I think it won't really show up over the colour of the camel. So we might go onto we'll do some more on the blanket. Maybe this over here. You can see, as I say, this is light. I don't know. I'm going to press quite hard to try and make sure that it shows up because it's quite a pale colour. So you can see it's quite a pale sort of orangey colour. It shows up though. The next one looks slightly darker to me, like this. Where should I put that? I think here on these triangles. I don't know why I feel I have to do them alternate like this, but it's just the way the picture cries out to me to be painted, coloured. There we go. Yeah, that's a little bit darker, isn't it? I can't stay in the lines, fill the box properly there. It's not supposed to be a colouring exercise as much as a demo. So this one is quite a peachy pink, I think. I think we need to probably balance by putting a little bit over here. So we'll put some in here. Well, that's quite dark, isn't it? I don't think I've got any colours that are like that. Is it a coral, do you think? It's quite an interesting one. Now this looks really pretty to me. I'm not sure what it's going to come out like though. I think I'm going to do some of these stripes. I do like that. I can do every other one. This colour. Just checking in the shot. You've got a bit wobbly and wonky. Should we do the bottom? Yeah. There we go. Right, now the next colour, very pale pink, which is nice. I'm not going to mix it with this. I think we need something else sort of orangey with that. We have to have some oranges later. I think I'm going to go over here and do these larger triangular shapes. It's not as pale as it looks if you layer it up. It's actually quite a vibrant pink. Okay. And we're getting brighter with this one, which I will put over here. In here. Oh. There we go, crikey. That's quite bright. And now we have the scary bright neon pink. It's not my colour, but hey, we've got to do it. So we'll put it in here. Wow, look at that. If you like your neons, that will appeal. It almost looks red, it's so bright. But we are moving on to red next, which is interesting. We have lots of shades of red. This looks almost orangey red to me, but I'm going to use it down at the bottom here. I do need some red on my tent later. I didn't. I wanted to make sure it was the right shade. Quite a deep red. There we go, it's nice red. And our next red is this one, which looks a bit darker. And I shall pop it here. It's probably a bad idea because the tent's going to be red. But never mind. That's very bright, isn't it? My next red I'm going to do on the tent. So I'm going to sharpen it actually. There we go. And I am going to do this end tent here. And try and do it a little bit darker at the top and less colour, and then a bit darker at the bottom, so have a bit of variation in colour. Yeah, and that shows up nicely. And the same with this one, so I'm just pressing a little bit harder nearer to the top. And the same with this one. One, and I think I'll do some on this one too, like that. Now what I might do is, I just want that a bit darker at the bottom, is use a couple of other reds. I might use them for the other tents. So I might use this red for this one. I'm going to just give it a sharpen. I know people get quite worried about sharpening new pencils, but I'm afraid I don't. Quite happy to do that. Also triangular pencils, it did say use a Faber-Castell. I'm using a Staedtler. Sorry, that's really blurred there. Further away, there you go. It's a Staedtler Noris Club. Seems to be coping fine with the triangular pencil. It works very well with my Arteza Premium, which are triangular as well. So I didn't think it would have a problem. I don't think you need a special sharpener. It's not like a triangular sharpener would work, is it, if you think about it? So that's that red. It's just I can see a bit of a difference between those two colours. And we've got another red here, so I'm going to do the smaller tent. I'm not going to do this big one, it's going to take too much time. Right, so this is our last. We have another sort of red, but I think it's a pinky colour. So this will be our last one with these colours. Try and do it a little bit darker at the bottom and the top. A bit like, oops, nearly did it on that one. Look, dear me. Let's have a look at that colour. You can see it's slightly different, but this next one to me, looks a bit pinky, not so much red. So I'm not going to do it on the tents. I shall do it, where should we do it? Let's do it on his, these. Oh, I like that colour. What do you think? I think it's a lovely pinky red. It's probably a bit like a madder, something like that. If we're talking polychromos. It lays down nicely. Look at that. I'm going to do the back ones as well, or else I'm just going to completely forget what colour I used. I'm going to struggle to get the camel looking right. As I say, I could always rewatch my video, but I don't tend to do that. I obviously edit, but I don't watch the whole thing. I just check it's working, really. Okay, there's that. Now we have got two last ones in this tray. This one, which actually, oh, that's the one we used for blending with. That's why it looks like it's been sharpened. It had. And we've got this pinky colour, which is quite similar to the pink we used up here. So I'm going to use it elsewhere. Oh, I think we'll just use it, can you see, yeah, on here. I think it looks really pretty. See what you think. It's a nice pinky colour. I'm not a big fan of some pinks, but I like that one. Now we're on to our second tray. So we have got, you may have noticed we seem to be missing quite a few colours, in greens, blues, things like that. Now this is a very pale blue colour that we've got. I am going to do these fluffy balls in this colour. Not all of them, every other one. This to me is like a nice blue colour. It is pale, but it might be nice for blending blues as well. So there you go, you can just about see it on the white paper. And now we have another pale blue, but it is darker. I think you can immediately see it's darker. And we're going to use it somewhere else. Oh, let's use it on this large area here. I think this looks quite like a cobalt blue or turquoisey, slightly turquoisey blue. Well, I like that. Okay. Now this blue, this looks quite just a mid blue to me. Just a normal blue, should we say. It's a bit weird, isn't it? So it's normal. I'm going to go in here with this one. Well, it's a little bit more greeny than I'd expected, but I think it'll work because we've got such a big mishmash of colours. I think it will just work. I was expecting it to be more mid-blue as I had described. That's okay. Well, actually it's quite good with that purple, I think. Okay, now we have what looks like a darker blue. Here we go, it's quite a dark one. And I'm going to try it here in this area here. Now you notice I'm not doing a lot of shading. That isn't a reflection of the pencils. You could see how I was doing a little bit from time to time. But because this picture is small, it's really quite tricky. But I was trying to pick one that had the opportunity to do a big random mix of colours without it looking odd, and I thought this one was ideal for that. So that's why I picked it. Now we've got another blue. I don't know if that looks a bit purpley to me, not sure. I'm going to go up here. Now I'm wondering whether I want to do my tent with alternate blue, but I think yellow. I was going to go red and yellow on my tent. We've got, let me see, we've got loads of yellows. We've got loads of blues to be honest, but I think I'm going to go with that. Now we've got what looks like a really dark blue. Look at that. I'm going to use it on the these little bits on the feet. Actually, it's not as dark as I expected. It's quite a nice shade. I thought it might be more of an indigo shade, but it's not really. It's quite nice. Now with some sets of pencils, I have to say, I find that some of them feel different to others, and that sounds really weird. Like sometimes a certain colour will seem to feel smoother and more blendable than the other. I've done half of these and I haven't noticed that at all. They all seem to have the same, quite a smooth feel to them, which is nice. I think they feel most like, out of my sets, most like an Arteza Premium pencil. This is another blue tone. I'm just going to sharpen this one. He looks like he's broken a little bit. Oh, my sharpener, hang on. Oof. Sorry, my sharpener's got a lead in it, so I can't sharpen anything. Hang on. There we go, got it. I don't know where that came from. Didn't break anything. Very confused. Anyway, this one is sharpened. As I say, I think they seem most like my Arteza Premium pencils. I'm going to do this line here in the feel. They're not sort of soft and almost chalk-like, which Castle Arts or Holbein, not Holbein's, Castle Arts and Derwent Colour Soft, not like those. They aren't as hard, I wouldn't say, as polychromos. Here we have another blue, quite dark. They're not as smushy as Prismas. So I've got this other blue. I'm going to do this sort of, although I think all this binding might be the same colour, this is a separate necklace part, so I'm going to do this bit, whatever you call it, band, I don't know. Now everyone will want to know if they're wax or oil based. I don't think it said, and I would have no idea. I can't tell which is which, I don't know. So I'm sorry. Just trying to make that a little bit darker. There we go. Now our next one is even darker. Actually, this one's broken off a little. That's okay, it happens. I mean, they come all the way from America. I'm not going to expect everyone to be completely perfect, but there we go. Sharpened up nicely. The core isn't broken. So here we go. I'm going to do this bit around here. This is more like an indigo, I would say. Quite dark, almost black. It helps to outline that pink, really stands out from it. There we go. Sorry, not talking, just colouring. Now we seem to go back to a couple of purples, I think. It looks black to me, but we've had black. I'm thinking it's purple, but we'll see. Where should we go? Down here. Let's do this bit here. See, try and work out what colour this is. It's so dark, it's definitely purple though. Very dark, intense purple, which is actually quite a nice sought after colour, I think, often. And that's laid down nicely. There we go. There's a few bits, that's okay. And now we have another purple, a little bit lighter. So we've got quite a lot of purples in this set, which I think is rather nice. I think sometimes sets are rather lacking their nice purple. We've got quite a few. I've got a lot of purple going on, so I'm just going to do this little strip here. And although I'm pressing quite hard, I've not had a whole lead break. Obviously I had a tiny tip that shattered on the gold right at the beginning, but I haven't had that happen since. And I haven't had a whole lead go, so that's always good news, because I know it can be quite irritating if the pencils break a lot. Even if they're cheaper ones, you still don't want to lose them through sharpening. Now this is a pretty colour. This I would say is a cobalt green, and I am thinking it's going to be quite similar to that one and that one. I'm going to do the very bottom of this rug with it because then it's not too close to them. Wow, that's a vibrant colour. Look at that. Oh, the whole page lifted then. Sorry. Okay, now we have what I would class as a deep cobalt green. It looks black, I realise that. Where should we pop this green? I know, at the top here. These, right next to this really light colour. It's not as dark as I expected from the from how it, oops, I did sharpen that a really thin point. But if you've watched any of my videos before, you know I do that a lot with all sorts of brands. So I don't think there's one where I don't do that. I think Prismacolor I don't really use them in videos because I know I don't press hard because they're scary. Right, we have some dark greens coming up. This one. So we shall, where should we go? Where should we go for our next bit of green? I'm thinking here, down here. Oh, I didn't sharpen this at all well. It's a nice deep green, isn't it? Greens I'm always very judgmental of because I use a lot. So I like to see what sorts of greens we have available. And there are loads, I have to say. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, there's 12. Out of 72, that's a lot of green, isn't it? Which is good. Okay, I'm going to do these circles. Oh, that's a nice colour. Nice green. As I say, the only thing with these is that they're not labelled with a name or a number, so we can't differentiate between them. So if I was doing a video, I can't tell you which specific pencil I'm using, which I know bugs some people. It's another dark green. I think maybe we're going to have to do... We're using up all of our... Yeah, let's go across here. Spaces. I didn't think we would fill up everywhere. But yeah, if you're just colouring personally, I don't know whether it matters that you haven't got numbers. It's another green. I'm going to do it down here. It's, as I say, it's quite a personal thing. To be honest, when I'm colouring on my own, I'm not looking at colour names at all. I think that should have been that purple colour, that bit, but I'm never going to remember which one it was, so I'm just going to have to do it something else. Here's our next green. Where should we go? Got a lot of green down here, but we'll do this bit anyway. That's quite a bluey green, isn't it? Oh, maybe not. Maybe more of a mid-green. And then we've got this green. I'm going to do these loops in green. There we go. And then we've got a paler one again, like this. I think I'm going to have to do this big area here. Now we've got these little tiny circular bits which I've got to try and colour around. Quite challenging. I don't think I quite managed it, but never mind. With something that small, I'd probably just go over it with a pen in the colour I want rather than trying to fit a tiny pencil in that space, or do it really dark so you can write over the top of the colour that you've done already. There we go. Is that area done? Now I've got a lighter green again, this one here. Yeah, I'm just looking at what we've got coming up. Maybe here, could you see, yeah. Just remember, we're going to see how the other pencils compare to the shine on the gold. You can see they do shine quite a bit as well, just because of the wax or oils that are in them. Interesting. Now we've got a paler green. I'm going to do these straps around his face, or his bridle, I suppose it is, isn't it? I guess he's being led or giving rides, I don't know. He looks very fancy and very happy, which is relief, isn't it? There we go, that's a nice colour green, I think. Sometimes a pale green doesn't really show up, but that one did. This is our palest green, so we'll be able to test and see how well this shows up. Make sure we go up here. See, I'm just checking. Oh, in short, that still shows up pretty well. It's definitely pale, but then that's the point of it. There's definitely a fair bit of pigment. Right, we're now moving on to oranges. Okay, and I'm running out of space quite desperately. But we'll do a bit of orange here. Very vibrant, isn't it? Okay, that's our most vibrant orange. Now we have a slightly paler orange, and we don't want to use it there. Maybe we'll use it for some of these pom-poms down here. So we'll use one on here, and you can see that it's a slightly paler colour than this one. And then we have our palest orange, really, I would say, is this one. We do have a tiny space up here. It's quite near some orange, actually. Yeah. Now we're moving on to our yellowy oranges. So we've got this sort of colour, which is, as I said, yellowy orange. I'm going to put it down here. Sorry. It's a lovely little postcard book, by the way. I know I'm supposed to be reviewing the pencils, but just in case you were thinking about the book, it's very pretty. Now we're going to do some stripes. Because we've done different shades of red, we're going to do different shades of yellow on the stripes, and we can give them a good test then. Now it's quite difficult to fade a yellow and then make it more vibrant. I will try, but I don't find it all shows up that well. But we'll just fit in these gaps with yellow, and you'll get to see the different shades of yellow. Wants to move around all over the place. This is turning out to be a really long video, isn't it? But it's hopefully give you a good idea of what these are like. Now we have another yellow. This is what I would call a sort of mid-yellow, but it looks slightly browny, maybe. I'll use it over here on this one. Yeah, that's definitely got a tinge of brown in, I would say. More like a Naples or an ochre than just a plain yellow. Maybe this is more like the mid-yellow colour. I'm going to do it here and here. Yeah, that is what I would say like a sorry, we're really wonky, a sunflower yellow. Now we're moving on to our paler yellows, which could be interesting. We've got this one, and I'm going to do it on this tent, because when I finish this, I'm not going to completely finish the picture on camera, but I will finish the tent, finish the whole thing, I mean, and share a photo with you of it all coloured, and I will obviously stick to using these pencils so you can see, but I'll have to duplicate use of some of them in some areas, and obviously finish the camel with the colours that we used when we started. There we go. So there's that yellow. I quite like that tone, it's quite pale. Now what will be interesting is as we go down to these much paler ones, will they show up? I'm going to try, oops, out of shot, this bit here. Yeah, that's quite lemony, but it shows up, no doubt about it. And then there's this one, look at that, it's quite pale, and we'll try it on here. Still think that's showing up quite well. I am pressing quite hard, but it's definitely there. Let's put a bit more there. There we go. Now we have this, it's getting very pale. We used it here, I know we shouldn't have done. It should be the same colour as the one before, but actually that's okay. That shows up. And our last two pencils are these two. Quite a pale cream and then a white. So I'm going to use this for the curtains. Let's see if it shows up against the black, which it does. Now the white, obviously we can't use the white on anything because it won't show up, but what we'll do is we'll use it to try and blend this. You can see if it makes it look paler, if it looks like it's writing. Yeah, I can see that's definitely making that paler, so I think it will be useful for blending and for lightening colours. You know, if it's too dark, you can put the layer of this on top. I'm pretty sure that made a difference. So I'm going to zoom out for you, but obviously he isn't very finished. Obviously he needs finishing in his body. We need to put a bit more colour around here and here and finish off the tents, but I'll finish them off and I will have a picture at the end. But overall I rather enjoy trying those out, and I think with a bit more practice I think I could get quite good results. Obviously first time of using, a bit rusty, not perfect, but you know, I rather like them, and there's some really pretty colours in there as well. So thank you for watching. Sorry it went on for so long, but if you are interested, have a look in my description. It's got links to the Grabie's website. It's got my discount code, so you can get money off if it's something that you want to have a go at. So thank you for watching and happy colouring.